Awesome. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Colin, and I use he, him, his pronouns, and I get to do a lot of community engagement here at Viterbo. And we're here today for a community engagement conversation with some local agencies. And so we have some folks from the Great Rivers United Way, as well as the Pump House, and hopefully our Families First folks will be able to join us as well. But we're really excited to learn more about what they're doing, how they're impacting the community, maybe some trends and opportunities that they want to share with us. So thank you all. And I just wanted to give that brief introduction, but I'll let the folks from the different agencies introduce themselves and kind of go through there. And then we have some prompts that we'll discuss and go that route. So if someone wants to go first and take the introductions, feel free.
I'm Julie Nelson, and I am the Community Engagement Coordinator at Great Rivers United Way, and I also serve on the UGetConnected team with both Colin and Julie.
Hi, I'm Toni Asher. I'm the Executive Director at the Pump House Regional Arts Center.
Great. Thank you all. I think that first prompt really just, if you mind sharing a little bit, kind of how you got into your roles and kind of what you currently do with the agency, that would kind of be helpful for the students and the community members to frame a little bit about who they're hearing from today.
So I have kind of a background in marketing, communications. At one time, I was a news anchor for WKBT TV here in town. I'm sure none of the students are young enough to remember that, or old enough to remember that. And so did a lot of public relations as my career went on, and looking for something just a little bit different. So community engagement is a similar but different type of thing. Certainly aware of public relations, of marketing and development, trying to bring in donors, and then reaching out to the community in different ways, finding different projects that we might be involved with. I'm very good at making connections and finding partners, who knows this skill and that, and trying to bring that all together. So that's basically what I do at United Way, and I'm enjoying the change of pace quite a bit.
As Executive Director here at the Pump House, it's a role that you have to wear a lot of hats at. I came to it, I guess, grew up with an affinity for the arts, and even had the honor of dancing one season with the Denver Ballet, but I had a career-ending injury, and my life took a different track, and ending up in arts administration is a great tie for me personally. So I have the joy of working with artists in every discipline. The Pump House is multidisciplinary, so that means we cover the visual arts, performing arts, literary arts, and it's film, storytelling, and excuse me for the contractors if you can hear all the noise in the background. We have some construction going on here at the Pump House, which I can talk about later. But it's great to be involved in this organization that touches on so many aspects of the arts.
Thanks for sharing. So I think that kind of transitions into kind of the larger, that's a perfect segue there, Toni, right? If you want to take some time, what does your agency do, right? Kind of educating us a little bit about the layers, that how you impact our community, maybe some of the issues, right, that your agency helps combat locally here, and kind of what that looks like, what you're known for.
Well, of course, the arts touch upon every aspect of our lives. And during this particularly difficult time, I think people are realizing more than ever that we are consuming the arts. We are reading books, we're watching movies, we're listening to plays, we're writing, we're photographing, we're really engaged. And so there's a great need for and consumption of arts, but there's also very little as far as resources go. We are in the quote unquote business of bringing people together, usually in a small space. It's not a real popular thing right now. So we've been working to convert our programs to do as many things online as we can. We have developed health and safety protocols for the building. We have only missed 1 week of art exhibits, and other than that, we've been able to remain open. We are open by appointment only. We currently have fantastic art in. It's just incredible the caliber of artists we have in this region. And you have an opportunity to come in and see the art for free, interact, of course, with the artists at artist receptions. We also have designed some art education programs, and they are no contact, even our pottery classes. And we're working on developing a concert series that will be streamed. Our first concert will be in October. And we're also looking for creative, energetic people who have ideas on how we can further bring the arts to our community. So we have a lot of ideas, digital theater experiences, just different writing experiences. Some people have come to me with other projects. So there's a lot of things that can be done, and a lot of things that I believe are especially meaningful at this time. We were chosen as one of 10 organizations in the state by the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation to produce an artwork that reflects we're all in this together. So we're working on that project right now too. So there's lots of things happening here at the Pump House.
Thanks for sharing. Julie, do you want to touch on Great Rivers United Way?
Yeah, so United Way is a worldwide organization, and our local chapter is called Great Rivers United Way, and we serve a 7-county area. So 7 counties right around the western part of Wisconsin, as well as Houston County in Minnesota. Our mission is to strengthen our communities, and we had a very good example of that last night. We held this Vote Safe project that was streamed online through several Facebook outlets. And it really talked about how to vote safe in a pandemic, both for your health and in a way that will make your vote count. And voting is such a basic part of our democracy. It affects every person in the community. This isn't a partisan thing, but we just felt it was really important to work with other people and get this information out here. What are some true facts? So we worked with Leader Ethics Wisconsin, with the League of Women Voters, with some political science professors at UWL. So really had a nonpartisan group talking about, this is how you do it, this is what you should be worried about, this is what you should not be worried about, and how to vote. So that's just one example of something that benefits the entire community that we try and work on. The other part of what we do really is to help raise money for other nonprofits, what we call our partner agencies. So a good example of that is, let's say you're really interested in getting people out of homelessness. So you might want to give your money to the Salvation Army. Well, that's great. They provide shelter for people. They feed people 3 times a day, and they help them provide housing. However, the Salvation Army can't do what they do without the help of the Hunger Task Force, who provides them the food for their meal program. And they can't do it without the help of Coulee Cap, who provides a lot of housing to get people out of homelessness. YWCA will provide childcare for people in shelters. The Boys and Girls Club has programming for some of the kids who are there. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, I really want to get people out of homelessness, so I'll give money to all these agencies, you would give your money to United Way, and then we would hand it out, and your dollar would go a little bit further that way. So those are basically the 2 main things that we do in the community. We look for ways to build up the whole community. We raise money. One of our main goals is just to help people get out of poverty in a variety of ways. It may be through, supports in education. It may be through the Salvation Army and getting people off the streets, and looking at their health, at their physical health as well as their mental health. So that's what United Way does in La Crosse.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie. That's definitely helpful. I have so many follow-up questions, but I'll wait till the end to do those. So we'll kind of keep going through. This next prompt really just wanted to open things up and give you a chance to talk about what's happening now with your agency, right? Like I think Tony alluded to a little bit of some of the structural changes with COVID. And so if you can maybe touch on any La Crosse specific trends or challenges, right? How your agency's been impacted or kind of is adjusting, just some of those important layers that you want to advocate for that your agency serves in the community.
Sure. So the performing arts are a very important part of our organization. Actually, the most revenue we generate from programs is generated through performing arts. And in great regard, they support visual arts and literary arts and other programs here. Of course, because of COVID, all of our performances had to be canceled. And that was a big hit financially. So we've been looking for other ways to regroup that, and also other outlets for the people involved in those programs that really, it's an important part of their lives, and it just like disappeared. So we are one of the first types of organizations that were closed, and we're probably one of the last that will be fully opened before people will be able to enjoy that kind of thing again. So that's so thinking of other ways to generate revenue has been really important during this time. And of course, everyone is a bit pinched right now. So we just keep tightening the belt and looking for other opportunities. And we've been very grateful for the community support we've received. I think I kind of touched on the fact that we're doing some art classes. Our galleries are still open, and our film society, which meets once a month, and we screen independent, usually independent films that are foreign films, and they address some social issue. So it might be homelessness, it might be illegal immigration, it might be arranged marriages, whatever that is. And we have a specialist who has some expertise in that area who's present and will introduce the film briefly. We watch the movie, and then afterwards we would gather for dinner, and we limited this to 100 people, and we would have conversation around these themes. So it's a really great group, but unfortunately we can't gather for a movie right now. So we moved our film society into a virtual cinema this year. One benefit of that is we, like I said, we tried to limit membership to 100. Last year we had 111, so we were really pushing our limits for membership. One good point about being a virtual cinema is we don't have the capacity limitation that we had with doing in person. Of course, it's not quite the same. You don't get the social interaction and the dinner together, but we're doing some other things to try to keep that human connection going.
And that's, I mean, challenging and important, right? That human connection, not losing that throughout all this as we sit on a Zoom call, right? Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it.
So for us, when COVID first hit, right away we partnered with the La Crosse Community Foundation to raise funds to start an emergency response fund. And between the two of us, we raised more than $220 million, which we've since pumped back into the community, mostly through nonprofits who are helping people. So some of it went for PPE, and some of it went for food and other types of things. But basically it was a COVID response of what has changed in your organization due to COVID, and how can we help you stay afloat or keep meeting the need as this is going on. So that was a big thing that we did right away. We were also, the La Crosse County Health Department contacted us and said, hey, we'd like to get some masks out to people who need them. Would you be game to help? So sure, of course we would. So this has been one of my fun jobs actually during the time of COVID, is if someone has needed a face covering, they contact me through United Way and I will bring it to them free of charge. So they don't have to leave their home and they don't have to pay anything. And especially early on, people were saying, you know, I tried to order one online, but it's taking forever to get here and I want to get out of the house. So people were just been so grateful to get them. So that's been a fun and very rewarding thing for me to do. We started with some online thank you notes to the healthcare workers. So if you wanted to say, hey, thanks for putting yourself out on the front line there during a very stressful time, we would send these notes off to people in, you know, workers in nursing homes and in the hospitals, and that was very well received as well. Right now we're looking at kind of repeating that same type of thing and doing it for the schools, recognizing that our teachers are under a lot of stress right now, and we appreciate everything that they do for our youngest citizens who are going to grow up and be top-notch citizens is what we would hope. We also have a unit called the Hub, and their role really is to be an advocate with people. So what they will do is they will stay with a person through kind of a transition time. So say, for example, you're a single mom, you've got your mom with you, your mom is at home on a lung machine, your son has asthma, and you still try to get to a part-time job, and you really should see the doctor yourself. And to try and figure out all these logistics is just overwhelming. Of where do I go to do this? And I done that. And then my kid needed this for school. And so oftentimes people will not seek medical attention because they are so overwhelmed by things. They'll let things fall apart at school just because they don't have the time to go and do this, this, and this. So the hub worker will stay with them and say, okay, here's how we're going to navigate the system. I'm going to help you. I'll come with you. I'll figure this out. Here's going to be our schedule, and help them get it done so that they can, improve their health and get on with their life, basically. And a surprising thing that I hadn't really thought of that the hub was learning through COVID is that there are a lot of people out there who are not as connected to mainstream media. So they had a lot of questions about, how can I avoid the virus? Where can I get a mask? Should I wear a mask? So just a lot of basic things that hadn't even occurred to me, but they were having to do really fundamental education for people who are not as tuned into media constantly. So that was a valuable service. And United Way also has a program called Better Together, and that deals with mental health. They focus a lot on the health of teenagers and younger citizens, but it's mental health for everyone. They work in conjunction with the YMCA, and so they've had a lot of great programs of, if you're feeling stressed, here's some things you can do. And sometimes it's as simple as take a calming breath. And one of our associates there has a child who's less than a year old, and he has learned to take a big guy breath. So even the youngest kids can learn some of these techniques and calm down. So United Way has been very active during the pandemic. We've had a lot of new things come up and responded to them very well. Kind of like Tony says, our biggest concern going forward is funding of, what are the funds going to be in this environment? We know that everyone's strapped and it's going to be a different time. So it's definitely an occasion where, any donation is going to make a huge difference. Every donation will count. So that's what we're waiting to see.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So kind of transition into that last prompt for you all. A little bit of came out there, I think, with the fundraising piece. But if you can share, what can the community do to support you and your agency and the good work that you're doing, right, throughout your connections, whether that's upcoming events, opportunities to volunteer on UGetConnected, service, right? Or even like some of those more tangible donations, gifts, things like that. What can you paint that picture for us?
Sure. We are in a little bit of a unique situation in La Crosse. There are not a lot of arts organizations that are responsible for a facility. So we are maintaining a building through all of this. And mentioned before, it just happened that we're renovating our theater at this time. So we've torn out the floor, new walls. We kept our beautiful ceiling, of course, but it's a major project going on. And of course, there's costs involved with that. But there's also things like we have to maintain our gardens. I need somebody to help shovel the sidewalk, pull weeds, sweep the floor, whatever it might be. So there's a lot of volunteer opportunities that are related to the facility that are a huge help. There's also all the programming that we do. We operate with a very lean staff. I am currently the only full-time employee, and I have 2 part-time people. So we're trying to run a lot of programs. So it's very helpful when we have someone who will be willing to jump on with some of these things. And I love it when somebody comes to us with an idea. I actually have an art teacher who's exploring the idea of soul boxes. I don't know if anybody's heard of that project. Have you heard of that, Colin? No,
I haven't. No, can you explain that?
I believe it started in Portland, Oregon, and it is bringing awareness to the fact that we have over 70,000 people killed or injured by gun violence every year. So they made an origami box for each person, and other communities are jumping on board with this. So Fond du Lac recently joined and got a lot of national press out of it too, but it's just a really interesting project, and they're displaying it in windows of stores so that you can see it by walking by so you can still be physically distanced and enjoy that project, and raises awareness for different issues. So that's a project somebody's brought to me that said, hey, how about we do this? So having people come up with those creative ideas that can address social issues, it's great. And we're all on board about helping with those kind of things. So volunteering in just about any capacity, we say, thank you. You're what keeps our world going around here. So it's also taking leadership in those programs because we do have such a limited staff. It's great when people come to you with ideas, but it's even better when they say, and that they will help do it. Yeah, so those are things, of course, financially, we appreciate those things. Sometimes somebody will just send me a link to a grant I might not have been aware of, or some other program that we can work with. I'd like to mention that we do work with the La Crosse School District. We annually would partner with students K through 12, and actually have hundreds, if not thousands, of students participate in art projects through the Pump House. We partner with other arts organizations, and many of the organizations that Julie mentioned are also our partners in making this a better place to live and work and play.
Thanks, Tony. That's always one of my favorite parts when I go to the Pump House, is seeing all the children's artwork and getting to see the creativity that comes out. So thank you. Julie, you want to touch on that last piece there?
Yeah, definitely. So there are some things that we're not doing during the time of COVID. We operate a poverty simulation. So when people participate in this, you would be assigned the role of a fake family member. You might be a dad just getting out of jail. You might be a single mom. And then your task is to basically navigate the system and figure out how you're going to apply for a job, or how you're going to get to your job, drop your kids off of school. And you learn pretty quickly that it's quite complicated to accomplish all this. This solution to getting out of poverty isn't just get a job, because there are still a lot of problems that result. So it's a very powerful experience, but it takes a whole room full of people and volunteers. So we can't do that right now, but boy, would we love to have students when we can do it again. We also can't do Read to Success, which is a program that matches community volunteers with kids in the 3rd grade. So that's another great opportunity for students. But one thing we are trying to start is a Student United group, and this would be a brand new group, so it's totally open to what students would be interested in. Do you want to meet socially over coffee or something like that? Or would you like to do some community service projects? Would you be interested in having speakers come in? Be great to do some small fundraisers for United Way. We're not looking for the kind of thing that raises bazillions of dollars, but a little something fun here and there would be a wonderful opportunity. When we get going again, maybe Student United could organize a poverty simulation. Again, a very powerful experience for all people participating. So anyone who's remotely interested in just finding out more, giving it a try, I'd love to hear from you. If we talk about it and you say, that's not for me, that's okay. But let's give it a try and see what you want to do and see what's out there. And this would be for students in all universities.
Thank you. Thank you. So that kind of takes us through all of those prompts that we had. Definitely wanted to give you all time to share and expand on some of those. If anyone has questions, feel free to send those in the chat. We can do that as well. But I just wanted to kind of follow up with some of the things that came out from what you're saying. So Tony, can you talk a little bit more about kind of, you mentioned the art installations and I guess how do you go through that process of getting the the artists or the projects, right? Selecting those, scheduling those. What does that look like if there's folks out there that are interested in maybe getting some exposure for themselves or folks they work with?
Sure. So we are a juried gallery, so people apply, and we have an application that opens September 1st annually and closes January 31st. So our call to artists is open now, and all the applications are presented to a jury of 9 people. These are different artists of different disciplines, as well as an art patron and art educators. So we have a panel of 9 people. They review all the applications, and then they select the exhibits that will be in the coming 18 to 24 months. So you've applied, you've waited months for results in your application, and then you might wait a year before your actual exhibit date. The artist delivers their artwork. We have a wonderful volunteer team, and we could really use some new young people on our install team. It's a great group. It takes, they work 3 hours on a Monday and then 3 hours the Tuesday, 9 to noon, those 2 days, every other month. On the Monday, we have the artists deliver their artwork, and they do what they call a dry lay of the show. So they lay it around the gallery exactly how it's going to go. And then on Tuesday morning, the install team returns and they actually install all the artwork. So it's quite a process. That team is a riot. When the new artwork comes in, they all say it's like Christmas, and they're so excited. And then the artwork is here on the main floor for about 2 months. In the balcony, we exhibit student artwork, and our very dedicated art educators in our region, they install those exhibits on their own. So we have schools represented throughout La Crosse. We have Onalaska, Toma, Holman. It's just some really outlying areas you might not think of that are all represented here. Those are usually for 1 month. So that's kind of the process with the art exhibits.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All our artists out there, take note, right? That's an outlet for you. Good. Julie, can you talk a little bit? You mentioned all of the different ways that you can kind of support some of the local agencies, right? And kind of the different arms of United Way, from Salvation Army to Hunger Task Force, and kind of how those are all interconnected there. Can you talk a little bit about how United Way distributes that, makes those decisions? Like if there's a small agency out there that isn't connected with United Way, or like some of those projects, what that could look like for them to get some of that support?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a grant process. You fill out an application basically and tell us what you're going to do with the money. So if you're on the giving end to United Way, that's reassuring to know that someone's looking at this and your money is going to be put to a very solid program and some good use. We look at things that cover our basic service areas of the health, community needs, and what's the other one? Education. I think I know these. And those are the criteria. So you have to be doing one of those to match up with it. There's a few hoops to jump through. So some smaller agencies, probably like the Pump House, say it's not worth our time to jump through all of those. But when people do, they are very appreciative of United Way funding, and we do like to help. Altogether, we're funding 27 nonprofits in this area. Now, and then Tony's thing with the origami things made me think too. Another way that students would be a tremendous help is Minnesota United Way does this week of caring. And so last year we had people donated apples to the teachers. The teachers had their students make little cards for people in the nursing homes, and then we took those cards to people in the nursing homes. So if someone has a creative idea like the origami things or some kind of bingo for students, or a way that we could promote kindness, just right over in La Crescent, Caledonia, I'd be open to some creative ideas on that as well.
Thank you, Julie. Tony, there was a question that came through about the Film Society, the virtual cinema. Can you talk about maybe how folks listening or watching this would be able to get connected with that?
Sure, they actually, from the Pump House website, there is a Film Society page, and you can join through there. So it is a membership organization. So what happens is you pay a membership to be a member of the Pump House Film Society. And then we will connect you with our online platform and send you tickets that you can watch each movie for free. So you'll log in, and each film is available for 2 weeks. We select films that are not otherwise available, so you have to only get it through a virtual cinema. And you'll have a 2-week period within which to log in. Once you've started a film, you have 3 days to finish it. And then we do other fun little things, like there's a monthly wine winner. So we do a random drawing, and one member gets a free bottle of wine every month. We also have a recipe that is themed with the movie. So our movie this month had, the setting is in Turkey. So we have a Turkish dish that's the featured item on the menu. So we will be planning some events with filmmakers as well, and opportunities for Zoom meetings like this we do with members too.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I hadn't heard of that before, but especially when you have the speaker that's talking about the issue and you can get a little bit more insight on it.
Yeah, it was really fun. Like we did the illegal immigration one, and we had an immigration attorney come in. And there's some of these topics that you think are not approachable or, whatever, but it's really great to get some good discussion going on these topics.
Yeah.
That's great.
The concerts you were going to stream, I was wondering, is that a free thing, or are you somehow collecting tickets for that?
Those will be free. Of course, there will be a donation bucket or a tip bucket, but yeah, we're going to do those for free.
Okay.
I'm glad we did this session after lunch, because learning about the meal option there, that's good. Julie, for United Way, you mentioned the face masks, right? And kind of talking about delivering those, and if folks needed some of that support. Is there still a need for face masks as folks at home are looking to serve, but maybe just in a isolated kind of safer way? And if so, kind of how would they get that to you? And then also talking about maybe the deliveries, if those are available outside of the La Crosse area.
Yeah, right now I really don't have a need for more masks. We've been doing a lot. RSVP has been doing a lot. So the schools are well covered. The universities are well covered. Even Gunderson has reduced their need for them considerably. So I hate to have someone spend a lot of money and a lot of time on a project that may just sit here for a while. But if you do know someone that needs a mask, yes, I will deliver them to you. Contact me through United Way, and I will bring it to you free of charge. You can have more than one. I mean, you couldn't have 10, but you could have 2 or 3 if you have a couple in the house, people in the house. Be glad to set you up. Do go outside of La Crosse County, or outside of La Crosse, I should say. I don't know that we've ever figured out the exact limit of how far I'll go, but I will go outside of La Crosse.
Challenge accepted then, right? Good.
I think Hawaii, I think that would be very,
So I guess definitely want to thank you all for being here. Unless there's more questions or anything else you all want to touch on, I do have one more question that we'll kind of wrap up with. So I'll put you all on the spot. But also just want to do the reminder of, right, like we're all part of that UGetConnected team. And so if there's, volunteer service opportunities for those tuning in, right, that's a good outlet to, get connected with United Way, the Pump House, right, any of those opportunities that are posted, but also even just the contact information, learning more about the mission and the causes that these organizations work to serve in our community. So I guess my last prompt for the both of you is, what can you maybe share an experience that you found really rewarding in your work with these nonprofits, and kind of something that stands out that helps keep you going, especially right now when it's tough to do that?
See, well, the Mass has been very rewarding for me, as I said. And then sometimes when you meet the individual people that you've served, people now that you would never expect that are doing very well in their life, they'll say, oh my gosh, I am so glad that these programs were here for me when they came with Christmas presents that one year when we could not afford anything. When we were able to get some diapers and we were reusing our diapers because it was the only thing that we had to do. That's like, wow, just the little things that make a huge difference. And it's an honor to be a part of it in my small way, and anything I can do to contribute is just great.
Thank you.
I want to say too that the people that the wider public that we serve that partake in our programs is wonderful, but there's a lot of people who are our regulars, and they draw support from being involved with the pump house in different ways. And it's just been really interesting and rewarding to me personally when I have people who are volunteers or members or just frequent visitors who will express how much it means to them to be able to make an appointment, come in and see the art. It's like a really uplifting thing for them. It helps them get through their day. And you realize that you're here for, that the arts just really affect down to the soul. So I find that very rewarding.
And I assume just like an individual could make this an appointment, or?
We will take a group, a maximum of 6, and they should be from the same household at a time. And you can schedule multiple appointments, but not consecutive. So we have different people and then we allow a half hour in between.
Okay. Is it a minimum?
Nope, we do many of them for one person.
Great. Yeah, boy, I can think of a number of people at my church that would love this opportunity.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you all. Thank you both. Appreciate the time and the energy, and obviously everything you're doing. That we just touched the tip of the iceberg today, right? So I know there's way more that goes on in your worlds that impacts our area. So thank you for all of that and the leadership you bring. So with that, hopefully this recording was helpful for folks, and don't forget to go to UGetConnected to get connected. Stay connected. Bye, everybody.